Hi, my name is Sophie and welcome back to my channel. It's my favourite time of month. I'm absolutely not a mood reader. I am a planner reader, for want of a better word. I've still not found a better title. Yeah, I adore planning every aspect of my reading. I hate making decisions, so I have a variety of methods with which I choose my TBR. Anything that can mean I don't have to make a decision about what book I'm reading makes me a happy bunny. So I'm recording this about a week before September, so I still have a bit more time to finish my August TBR. At the moment, I'm about 30% of my way through Godkiller by Hannah Kaner, and I'm about to start reading A Beautiful Evil by B. Fitzgerald, and there's 2 books from my monthly TBR that I've not started yet. Who knows where we'll be in a week? It really does depend. There's no guaranteeing where I will be by the 1st of September, so I'm not ruling out that I may not finish my TBR, but I also might. Who knows? But I make my TBRs slightly differently to how I've seen other people make their TBRs, in that I use a bunch of categories and then I pick a book for each of those categories using a variety of those methods, and then we tend to have a list of 6 or 7 books that goes towards that is my monthly TBR. I'm both rambling and not making sense. So rather than having my whole laptop set up, I've picked the first category I pick a book for is it's a book from the wedding library. TLDR, when my husband and I got married, we asked our guests to gift us a copy of their favourite book, so we'd have a little library of our favourite people's favourite books. In an endeavour to read them all, I've been reading one a month for nearly 3 years, and I'm over halfway through the collection, but I use a spinner to choose what book I'm reading next, because, as I've already mentioned, I don't want to make decisions, and I keep avoiding the long books, and that's coming back to bite me. I have actually soft DNF'd the book that I picked for August, so I've added it back to the list. I'm just really hoping it doesn't come up again this month, because I want some time before I come back to that book. I've also realised I have it to hand. The book I picked in August was Warlock to the Magic Born by Christopher Stasheff, and when I picked it, I avoided reading the back because I wanted to go in blind. I wanted to get the full reading experience. Whereas if I just looked at the top part, I'd have seen that this is actually a bind-up of books 0, 1 and 2 in this series. Let's just say I wasn't reading this at a very fast pace, so I decided to pick it up on my Kindle because I didn't want to be holding a 700-page book. And then I changed the parameters of my own rules for my own book club that doesn't really have rules. And I decided I would only be trying to read the first one, and I would treat it as a series, so I would have put it back on the spinner anyway. And then it was taking me so long to get through, and that's a sign to me that to my husband actually, he actually told me to stop forcing myself to try and read this book and to just DNF it. So that says everything. So last month's book has gone back on the spinner, but we're just going to hope that it doesn't come up again this month. The book I'll be reading from the Wedding Book Club this month is Harry's Game. I don't remember anything about this book. I will try and insert a picture when I remember who it's by and what it looks like. But currently I have nothing to say. I don't know anything about this book. Is it fiction? Is it non-fiction? Is it long? Is it short? Who knows? We'll find out next time on Dragon Ball Z. My brain is all over the place today. The next category on my list is any new releases I've pre-ordered. Now, I know that I've pre-ordered 2 books in September, the first of which I believe comes out on the 3rd or 4th of the month, and the second of which I think comes out on like the 25th, 26th. So literally at opposite ends of the month. The first of which is Fearful by Lauren Roberts. This is another one of the spin-off novellas from the Powerless series, which I should be more reluctant to read, considering Fearless was, I think, one of the worst books I've read this year. It's not my lowest rated, but there were elements of that story that just made me feel so icky. So icky. And I'm still reluctant to talk about it because it is definitely a spoiler. I really shouldn't want to read this. But I have the Waterstones special editions of all of the rest of the books, so it would make sense to carry on that collection. I know I have a problem. We're aware of that. So that's the first book. And the second book I've pre-ordered, I've actually pre-ordered as an audiobook. I've listened to this entire series as an audiobook, and my physical collection is all in paperback, so I wouldn't buy it physically off the bat anyway. And that book is the fifth book in the Thursday Murder Club series, which is called The Impossible Fortune by Richard Osman, which I'm really, really looking forward to, actually. I love his writing style. I love the cozy mystery. I love his narrative voice. I love the characters of the Thursday Murder Club. And I'm looking forward to the Thursday Murder Club movie coming out this week, I think. That's going to be good. Lots of Thursday Murder Club, lots of Richard Osman. Yeah, I think it comes out late enough in the month that I should be concerned about whether I can actually finish it in September, but we'll see, I guess. But the only one I need to do is to pick 2 books from my 25 in 2025. I have this tiny little TBR jar because when I made my 25 in 2025, I just picked 25 titles out of my big TBR jar, which, as you can see, is still quite full. But to keep the spirit of where my 25 in 2025 came from, I already had this smaller jar to hand. And this, comparatively, is looking very empty. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 books left, according to the stack over here. Am I on track to finish them by the end of the year? I would need to read 2 a month and 3 in one of those months to finish them all by the end of the year, which I think is a decent place to be. Maybe I'll pick 3 this month, because otherwise my TBR is only going to be 5 books long, but also I have a big collection of books over here that I would like to get to as well. I think I probably will just stick with 2. We'll see what happens, and if I need to read 3 in December, that's fine. Either way, let's get into the picking bit. It's definitely less exciting when there's so few bits of paper left. There we go, we've got one. And that is The Dragon's Eye by Dougald Steer. I know nothing about this book. I think this is probably a book I bought when I was a teenager. I thought it was going to be floppy. It's not floppy. It's got like a really classic children's fantasy cover, which I do really like. And then it says, Volume 1, The Dragon's Eye. Step into the world of the secret and ancient society of dragonologists in this series of fire-breathing adventures. In The Dragon's Eye, join 12-year-old Daniel Cook. I was probably 12 when I bought this book. Join 12-year-old Daniel Cook and his sister Beatrice as they begin their dragonological apprenticeship under the watchful eye of eccentric Dr. Ernest Drake. Soon their studies are interrupted when they find themselves caught up in a race against time. Can they solve the riddle to discover the whereabouts of the fabled Dragon's Eye gem? Most importantly, can the ambitious siblings, with the help of some friendly dragons, save it from falling into the hands of the Drake's arch rival, the evil Ignatius Crook? The fate of all dragons rests in their hands. I would say potentially starting another series, but if it's a middle grade series, I might just read this one and be done. But it feels quite short, but sometimes that can be deceptive. Oh, it's got that nice big middle grade font. It looks like it might be less than 300 pages. It's got pictures. 281 pages. So yeah, that should be a nice, quick, easy win, which is what I need. That is what I need at the moment. Then let's pick the last one for this month. Got it. Oh, and then we have one from the other end of the stack, The Boy at the Top of the Mountain by John Boyne. I think John Boyne is the guy that wrote The Boy in the Striped Pyjamas. Yeah. I got this for £3 at a Waterstones. I was going to say second-hand sale. It wasn't second-hand. It was like clearance stock. Again, another short one, probably YA or middle grade. The unforgettable new World War II novel from the author of The Boy in the Striped Pyjamas. Piero knows nothing about the Nazis when he's sent to live with his aunt in a mysterious house at the top of the mountain. But this is no ordinary house. This is no ordinary time. It's 1935, and this is the Berghof. Taken under Hitler's wing, Piero is swept up into a dangerous new world of power, secrets, betrayal, and lies. Fascinating. Okay, well, this one clearly isn't as famous as The Boy in the Striped Pyjamas, but I've not read a historical book for a while, and I keep forgetting that I actually quite like historical books. And you know what? It's another short one. This is the kind of quick win I'm needing at the moment. Yeah, that might be just over 200 pages. Cool. Okay, so those are the 2 from my 25 and 2025 for this month, which is good because for next month, which is good because this month's TBR has been quite long. So actually, I think I need a nice, achievable one, especially because September is my birthday month. The short one this month because I've got the 2 pre-orders, and that covers my The other category I sometimes try to fill is continuous series. So the way I've decided I'm going to tackle my series and the amount of series I'm in the middle of is that I'm going to have one that I feel like is my active series. And whenever I get the chance to read another book, I will progress that series. So the series I'm reading at the moment is the Maximum Ride series. It's a reread from my teenage years, which I'm very much enjoying. But I've already got the Lauren Roberts novella, which covers that category. So I'm just going to stick with the 5 for this month. But as a bonus, because otherwise this video will be quite short, I'll take you through the books that I also have on my TBR cart that are kind of, here's what I'll read if I finish my monthly TBR. So I'm just going to, basically, because I'm a planner reader and not a mood reader, I have the books in order of when I'd like to read them. So the first 2 currently, because it is still August, are the 2 that I haven't started on my August TBR, which are The Cornish Village School by Kitty Wilson, which is on my 25 in 2025, but I had to read, I accidentally bought book 2 in a series, so I had to read book 1 to be able to read book 2. I have read book 1, I just haven't got around to book 2 yet. So that's number 1 on the TBR cart. Then we have one of the new releases I bought in August, which I haven't read yet, which is Alchemy and a Cup of Tea by Rebecca Thorne, which is the final book in the Tomes and Tea series. Then we get into the books that aren't on my TBR but are on my immediate radar. So the first book I would like to read that isn't on my TBR is Queen Bee by Juno Dawson, which is a prequel novella that goes with the Her Majesty's Royal Coven series, which I started and finished this year. And I am absolutely obsessed with it, so I want to read this novella as well. Then I made a TikTok months and months ago now about using different methods to choose a book that I would read if I finished my monthly TBR. And one of those methods was just going through all the books I bought this year, the list of books I bought this year, and reading the next one that I haven't read yet. But in this case, the book I haven't read yet is Cursebound by Sarah L. Arifi, which is the sequel to Faebound by Sarah L. Arifi. And obviously, if I've not read Faebound, I can't read Cursebound. Shock horror, guess who hasn't read Faebound? Considering I pre-ordered this book, I think in January of 2024, I really should have read it by now, but I haven't. So that's on that list, which will then, if and when I get around to reading this, will then mean I have to put Cursebound in its place to actually be able to fulfill the whole point of the challenge of reading the next book from my new buys list. But that's not right now. The book that's on my list right now is Faebound. And then another way of picking a book that I filmed in that TikTok was choosing a book out of my TBR jar. And the book I chose was Charlie Loving Clichés by Ella Mays. I've read 3 Ella Mays books now that I got them all in a box set from the works. And I think the easiest way to describe it is this is a 3-star easy cheesy romance. You don't need a lot of power to read them, but they're not going to change your life and soul, you know? Then we get onto the continuous series section. I kind of hate that I have a section, but here we are. Most of these are because I've pulled the series title out of my TBR jar, and I feel like I can't get rid of the scrap of paper until I've read the whole series. So the first is the next book in my aforementioned series. I'm currently reading Maximum Ride. This is the 4th book in the series. It's called The Final Warning. This is book 4. I own 7 of them physically. I think there are now 11 of them total, but I'm only really going to finish the 7 I've got. If I get to the end of those 7 and I think, you know what, I need to carry on reading this series, I may or may not buy the rest of them. I will, 7 is the cutoff where I can put my little bit of paper into I have another jar up here. It has a little slot on the top, so it's nice to post in the little piece of paper when I've actually read the book. When I've read the 7, I can put the piece of paper in that jar. Whether or not I continue to read the rest of the series is another point of contention. Anyway, after I finish the Maximum Ride series, I want to finish reading the Luminaries series by Susan Dennard, and the second book in that series is The Hunting Moon. There is a 3rd book. I think it is a trilogy. The 3rd one's called The Whispering Dark, I think. I don't have that one yet, but as and when I finish this, I will probably allow myself to buy the 3rd one and put it behind Cursebound or whatever I've tagged on to the end of this list by then. We've already got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bonus books. So unless I have a spectacular reading month, I'm not reading this in September anyway. It's just on my peripheral. So that's that series. And then the last series I have on my radar and my tiny bits of paper is the second book in the Shatter Me series, which I thought was Unravel Me, but I'm starting to think it's not. Whatever book is book 2 in the Shatter Me series, that is in this position, because I read Shatter Me a couple of months ago and I own the rest of the series. And it was weird enough that I'm intrigued to want to carry on reading it, even though I rated it like 2.5 stars. Take from that what you will. So that is my TBR for September and all of the books that I've got on my immediate radar to read if I finish my monthly TBR. The fact that I've only got 5 books on my monthly TBR actually makes me feel a bit better. I don't want to say I've been stressed about reading recently, because that's so dramatic and it's meant to be a fun hobby, but I think I'm feeling a little bit overwhelmed by how many series I've got on the go and how many books I have on my TBR and how many books I have all over the floor in this room, etc, etc. I really want to replace these Kallax units with some more Billy bookcases, but they are more expensive than I can afford, and whenever I see them on Facebook Marketplace, they are very far away from where I live. So if anyone wants to donate a Billy bookcase to me, that would be wonderful. Also ridiculous, but here we are. There's my September TBR and a bunch of books that are also on my radar. As a recap, my September TBR contains from the Wedding Library a book called Harry's Game, which at this point I know nothing about other than the title. Then 2 new releases, which are The Impossible Game, The Impossible Fortune by Richard Osman, the next book in the Thursday Murder Club, and Fearful by Lauren Roberts, the spin-off novella from the Powerless series. Then the 2 books from my 25 and 2025 are both middle grade, ironically, I think. At least YA, if not middle grade. And we have The Dragon's Eye, the first book in the Dragonology Chronicles by Dougald A. Steer, and The Boy at the Top of the Mountain by John Boyne. I'm feeling good about this, actually. I'm feeling very optimistic, which is a nice place to be, actually. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a great day. I hope you read a great book, and I'll see you next time for another bookish video. Bye!